Hello. Uh, Today I'd like to talk about objectivity, that there is something about objectivity that can easily go wrong. If we say that objectivity is not right, objectivity is just a fact, if we overlook the fact that thought is participating in what we are saying, it is participating in what we are reporting, which basically means that the past, knowledge, memory, is carried into the present. We have collective and individual thought, which as a system has become automated to such a degree that we are rather controlled by it than controlling it ourselves. Yeah. So, if we are not aware of how thought is participating, then objectivity becomes merely a belief. It is not a report without an effect on what is being observed. If we believe that we are objective but fail to take into account the ways in which thought is contributing, so that means that we fail to see the rich and complex process that constitutes what we experience as a world. So if we start by saying that thought is literally the past being carried into the present, yeah? It's a display of memory, a superimposition of what we are trying to convey. It's images that are active, and this overlay is responsible for our ability to act practically, but also for our whole array of feelings. So thought and feelings interact in such a way to form not just opinions, but to form neurophysiological patterns in the brain, structures, physical structures in the brain. These structures will act or respond or activate without our conscious choices. The past could be not just a mix-up of our intent to be objective, but we could say that the past is operating not in a comparable way, but in a similar way that the genetics develop the body and so forth. This is the genetics usually is responsible for what we call our impersonal individuality. Do we have thick hair, long hair, blue eyes, green eyes? It's not a personal choice, so the DNA is impersonal. And also, thought, being a system in the way we are talking about, collective, individual, it is also not personal. A part of it is personal, but perhaps a much more larger and significant portion of it is collective, is impersonal. Language, I could not have language without being part of a collective group of people who speak this language. Now, the thing that we could become aware of is the flow of meaning between us, the collective past. What does this mean to us? And it's more important, in a sense, than an individual opinion. So my opinion, I might consider it to be true, but the collective past is more fundamental in a sense. It's operating, its actions, its consequences. So in this way we are compelled to see thought as a system. Yes, the body, the intellect, emotions, the reflexes, even artifacts that we have constructed. They are both active and passive. They are concrete, like a table, or abstract as an idea. Yes, they are collective and individual. So these are quite a few things to have in mind when we feel that I am merely being objective about it. Am I? Or do I somehow fail to see that I'm bringing in other factors into what I see? So human beings, even things like we take for granted, things like cause and effect. Cause and effect, in fact, David Bohm points out, at a certain point it was important to have a clear way of describing things, like the effect, the cause, cause and effect. But when we pick a cause or an effect, it means that we are not taking into account the subtler effects of thought. And if the cause and effect serve the purpose of what we are doing for the moment, that is very good. But if we think that the cause and effect, this is the way things are, if that is how we look at it, that this is the way things are, there is nothing more to it, then it is this way of thinking that opens up the possibility or the development of a systemic fault in thought. Now, if we think that we are being clear and objective and have taken things into account, this is the way things are, we still may end up with the issue, or the issue at hand is that thought is struggling against what it itself is doing. So it's important not just to apply thought, but to understand what thought is. Yes, so there is clearly a difference between applying thought, action, having sufficient fact, and understanding what is thought. And in this case, or in this review of the book, the direction we are moving towards is that thought is a system, yes? And we have to look at this without an agenda. We just have to look at what is thought. So more or less, the reflexive nature of knowledge, of thought, is a reference frame. We can access memory, access thought, but if we carry this too far, if we overuse or overextend this ability, it is actually hindering the natural development of proprioception. Proprioception will be described and discussed later, but it is the natural awareness of something that is happening. Yes, we are aware if it's itching on the body, but we are not aware generally of what we are thinking or what is involved in what we are thinking. an example of what develops is, for instance, the thinker. Yes, the thinker who is responsible for maintaining the system. He's suffering the system. Everything is happening to me. Why can't I be left alone? Or all those kind of things. I'm hurt. I'm scared, and so forth. This is one of the more rigid parts of the system. And this is, of course, in spirituality, one of the key points that has been pointed out. There is no self. But it is not so much that there is no self. The self is important up to a point. Yes? What is important here, or what is suggested, is that it is sensitivity that is the key to understand, or to dismantle, or to open up, rather, to learn about the more rigid part of the system. So the sensitivity, what are we missing, what is it, why is it not working, and how is it actually working? That is the key point. We are trying to open up or describe or create an environment for insight, which is a deeper tool than merely making decisions based on facts or being objective. We need a space where we are open enough to have a flash or an insight, to actually see it, is another way to put it. As we are having a dialogue, I'm doing the dialogue at the moment, but as we are having a dialogue, we suspend, yes? We don't put our thoughts and reactions into action necessarily, yes? But we try to catch the flow of meaning. When you say this, it makes me want to respond and act in this way. What does it mean to you? It means something different to you. And it is this flow of meaning that holds the collective system in place. So if we have a personal sense of meaning, that is all right. It might lead up to decisions of what I do, what you do on a daily basis. But similarly, the flow of meaning in a collective manner, yeah? The house where you live, the city, the place, your workplace, the country, there is a flow of meaning there that holds the system in place. This system is not divided from you or me, even if I or you have looked into it more, have understood a bit or a lot of it. Yeah. So, in order to make use of objectivity or understand objectivity, we need a clear map. If we had a clear map already, that would be all right. But we need a much more clear map of what we are doing, about what we are thinking. So for the moment, we should just keep in mind that objectivity knowledge we are using, there is a great possibility that something about our objectivity is not right. Yeah? Thought is participating in the results we are using, and we are trying to learn again to be able to catch the important point that we are overlooking. Okay, thanks for now.